Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. All right, fire on board a cruise ship. I just can't imagine how scary that would possibly be. You know, we've had stories recently about, fire at 3 o'clock in the morning. The alarms go off while you're sleeping, rushed out of your bed to your muster station. That right there is just scary enough. But how about a fire in the engine room on board a cruise ship that not only resulted in having to go to the muster stations, it also resulted in the ship having to be evacuated. So yesterday, June the 5th, around 7:23 a.m., Uncruise Adventures cruise ship, the Wilderness Discoverer, had a fire in her engine room. At the time of the fire, she was sailing in Glacier Bay National Park up in Alaska. Crew and passengers had to be evacuated from the ship, and they were transferred over to the Sapphire Princess. Now, if you are not familiar with Uncruises, it is a smaller, more boutique, type cruise lines. They have very small cruise ships when you compare them, to Princess, Carnival, Royal Caribbean. They started sailing in Alaska in about 1996, so been in business for about 25 years. And they focus, on smaller, more adventurous style cruising. The actual ship will go whale watching, can go further, usually up into the fjords, get closer to the glaciers, things like that, because it is a much smaller ship. The Wilderness Discoverer herself, well, she is, she's pretty tiny. You can see from the pictures, definitely not a big ship at all. Was built in 1992, has a crew of only 26 with 34 passenger cabins and can hold 76 passengers. So not a very big ship at all. We are relieved to confirm that there have been no injuries resulting from the fire. Our highly trained crew promptly extinguished the fire using established emergency protocols, and CO2 was successfully deployed for everyone's safety, said the company owner and CEO, Captain Dan Blanchard. In adherence to our commitment to environmental responsibility, we have conducted thorough assessments, and we are pleased to report that there are currently no discernible environmental impacts within the affected area. Local and federal authorities have been promptly notified, and we are working closely with them to ensure a coordinated response in the area. Now, 51 passengers and 17 crew members were evacuated off of the Wilderness Discoverer, like I said, and were moved over to the Sapphire Princess. 10 crew members remained on board. They were able to successfully put out the fire, and most importantly, no injuries were reported. And being in Alaska, no environmental impacts that they know of at this time. Our priority is to ensure the safety of all affected guests during this transition. Every effort is being made to minimize any inconvenience caused by the incident. The cruise line will be providing full refunds to all passengers affected by the incident and providing hotels and flights home for those affected. Our commitment to our guest satisfaction remains unwavering, and our crew is working with guests and authorities to ensure expedited care. The cause of the engine room fire is yet to be determined, and an investigation is currently underway to determine the cause. We will actively cooperate with the authorities and conduct a thorough assessment. So like I said, a pretty scary situation that you're on your Alaska cruise, you're out enjoying the beautiful scenery in Glacier Bay National Park, only to have a fire break out in the engine room on board your ship. You got to quickly get to your muster station. You are evacuated off the ship to another cruise ship. I just feel like that's got to be a very hectic, stressful, and scary situation for those passengers. But most importantly, no injuries reported. They got everybody safely off the ship. They got the fire put out on board the ship. No currently known environmental impacts in Glacier Bay National Park. And from the company statement, all the passengers are going to be taken care of. They're going to have hotels, they're going to have flights, they're going to get them all home safely. For the cruise ship herself, well, they're still going to have to determine what caused the fire. And I'm sure they're not just going to start that ship back up. Most likely it's going to be towed to a cruise port somewhere where the ship can be inspected, it can be checked, and it can be repaired. At the end of the day, cruise ships can be fixed. Cruise ships can be replaced. People's lives can't, and the environment just, it cannot handle any type of, engine spills, oil spills, anything like that, particularly in areas like Glacier Bay. And while it is scary for those cruise passengers, at least they're going to make it home safely, and hopefully this type of thing doesn't put them off from cruising again in the future, because Alaska's really, really beautiful, and hopefully they'll get the opportunity to go back and see it again sometime in the future. Alright, and that's going to be our cruise news video for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. I hope everyone out there is having a really great day, and like always, we will see you out on the high seas.